Today, I want to talk about some of the annoying things that clients have recently either said to me or have done. Now, I do want to vent, but I don't want it to be like a complaining video, so we're also going to analyze what is the reason they might have done that, and is there actually practical purpose to whatever they asked. So let's talk about that. So some time ago, we were processing data for a client, and all the normal settings, time zone, deduplication, all that, everything's going great, getting data published, and then suddenly client calls back and says, hey, you know what? We've been thinking about it. Why don't you not deduplicate this data? We want to look at it as is, with all the duplicates, everything intact. Of course, at this point, we were 90% through the job, but that's not new to me, client changing instructions at the last minute. The frustrating part was why? None of us could understand what's the reason. Why would you not want to do deduplication? What's the point of having all the duplicates in there? Aren't you just going to be wasting time looking at the same document over and over? And that is generally true. There is basically no reason not to do deduplication. One potential reason is when you're processing somebody's eDocs, somebody's My Documents folder. And what you want to do is see the results exactly how it was in the same folder structure. So sometimes people say, oh, I had documents in this folder, and then there was this document in that folder. And the client may want to see that data exactly as it resided on someone's laptop or My Documents folder. They don't want to go to this all paths field, and they don't want to hunt around for other duplicates of the file. So that's the only potential reason I can think of where you may not want to do deduplication. Other times you should always deduplicate your data. Another frustrating thing that I've seen lately is clients not replying to an email chain. Every time they start with a brand new email. So it's impossible to follow the conversation. We had this client who pretty much every morning starts an email, and in fact, they just put this in the subject. How's my production? And then they expect an answer with no indication what case it is or anything like that. The other place I've seen this happening is with purchasing companies. So whenever I sell my application, sometimes company cannot buy it directly. They have to buy it through a third-party company. And this third-party company may have lots of people working on it. And so what you get is one person messages me, I answer a question, and then at a different shift, another person sends me a message. But they would completely ignore everything that was said before, and they would basically start a brand new conversation. So I may have answered the question to one person, the other person doesn't know it. So is there a valid reason to start new email every time and not look for existing email chain and reply? No, there is absolutely no reason. Don't do that. Find the recent email chain, change the subject so it reflects the case name or some kind of tracking number, and reply to that so all the communications stay together. Please don't do that. No one can find those emails later, and it's impossible to keep track of everything. Here's another stupid request. Okay, you finished processing data, great. So in this folder, yeah, excellent. Can you export all the metadata to an Excel file? And we're gonna go through and pick out which documents we want to do something with? What? There is absolutely no good reason to take metadata out of review system and do anything with it separately. That is the point of review tools like Relativity. You go into it and you look at data there and you make decisions. You don't do it in Excel. That just causes all kinds of problems. Then data needs to be linked, tagging needs to be added, and somebody will make additional modifications to Excel later, then they send you some changes. You don't know which columns they change. It just makes an absolute mess. If you have a review system, if you decided to use something like that, then use it. Go into it, log in, learn how to use it, and tag documents as you're supposed to. Don't export metadata to Excel and try to do a review there. In my experience, this usually happens when you have lazy attorneys and maybe like a paralegal or some kind of assistant. They have to present data to an attorney, and the attorney doesn't want to log into Relativity. That's usually the case when it happens, and then they try to export it out and say, okay, here you go, sir, here's a nice Excel for you so you could look at it. You don't need to get your hands dirty logging in into review environment, kind of thing like that. I think that's how it happens. That's how I imagine it anyway. Yes, that's the reason, but please don't do it. And the last thing for today is going to be something I talked about before, is assigning custodians. And one of the questions I was asked is, well, we got this PST, but we don't know where it came from. Can we assign custodian based on from of the emails? And I said, what? That doesn't make any sense. You can't use from to assign a custodian. You're going to assign it to each individual message, different custodian if you have collection from multiple people. You know, it doesn't make any sense. The custodian is the person in whose possession this data was. So where did you get this PST? That is the custodian of the data. And the reason we get these kinds of requests is because custodian is a required field, and a lot of people feel like they have to populate it with something. They need some kind of name, where I'm on a site where sometimes you can just put shared drive or shared mailbox or support mailbox. You don't always have to have a name in the custodian field. And that gets even more confusing when we get to like text messages or short message communications from Slack and Teams. But the point is, people really feel like they have to put something in there, and they try to find all kinds of ways to populate it, regardless whether that is correct way of doing it or not. Well, now I feel a little bit better now that I got this off my chest. Let me know what other things clients tell you that are absolutely ridiculous and you think I should include them in the next video. Put that in the comment section below. Don't forget to follow on LinkedIn, subscribe on YouTube, and I will see you on the video.